गुड इवनिंग मैम। गुड इवनिंग मैम। मैम, कैन यू हेयर मी? Ma'am, I can't hear you.
Ma'am, same here. I can't hear you.
Mom, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay, okay. I have removed the headset better. So we will be discussing the same chapter, transportation. We will be revising that. Have you gone through the posters which I've shared yesterday in the group regarding the arteries, veins, regarding the components of the blood? Have you gone through? No or yes?
Yes, ma'am.
No,
Meera is
ma'am.
saying yes, no. No time, Shriyansh, right? Very, very busy. Very busy schedule. Correct, Snehal? Right?
Studying for my exams.
Sorry, come again, Snehal?
Now I'm studying for the exams. I have an exam on 23rd.
Okay, okay, okay.
I mean, like
Pavam, na? You all are
24th.
Pavam.
Ma'am, I'll check it today.
Okay, fine. So let me share the screen so that we can continue with the chapter. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, shall we write whatever you are writing?
No, no, no. You should not write anything. So we have discussed all these things yesterday. Now we will be starting with the next one, which is the human heart. So human heart is a key organ of the circulatory system, which beats continuously, right? So it is not like for a second it is relaxing or for a minute it is relaxing. No, continuously it has to pump. It has to pump, keep on pumping, which means it has to keep on transporting the blood so that other components also can get transferred. The heart is located just to the left of the center of chest cavity with its lower tip slightly tilted toward the left. So when we talk about the heart, the lowermost part of it will be slightly tilted to the left hand side. It is of the size of the clenched fist. So as you can see, yesterday I told you, right, why we are drawing the picture like that. So it is because of the clenched fist. When we join both the hands together, it will be giving the structure like this. So that is the reason we are drawing it like this. Then internal structure of human heart. But before that, let me show you a 3D model of it. Okay, this one I think. No, not this one. Just a Can you see it, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So this is how the heart will be looking in reality actually. So this is the model, 3D model. Not I will not be saying it is a 3D model. I'll be saying in fact the real. When we actually open the body, when we dissect the body, this is how the pumping will be happening in our heart continuously. So this is the front side of it like this. This is the sides of it, and from the top, from the down, it will be like this. So you can see inside this also there are, see, now can you see how many nerves are there, how many blood vessels are there which help them to pass? And also, can you see two holes are there?
Yes,
Is it
ma'am.
visible?
Yes, ma'am.
So they are basically the movement of the blood will be happening. They are the valves which help them to move the blood from one chamber to the other chamber. So like this, the human heart will be there. Mm. Hmm. Hmm. See, this is the left part of it. Left ventricle part of it. This blue color one, the entire blue is the left side of it. Whereas this is the right side of it. So right ventricle, then the left ventricle this side, and the top of it will be the left atrium. Are you getting it, children, how the four chambers are there? The left side, this is left atrium, which is left auricle also we can say. The down to it is the left ventricle. The other side will be the right atrium, and the down one will be the right ventricle. So that is how we have the four chambers present in our heart. Can you see the continuously? See, all the three sides of the heart is pumping continuously, because of which the blood will be flowing easily throughout it. Got it? And do you know which is the largest artery, children?
Aorta.
Yes, aorta. So aorta is this artery. The blue color one which I've highlighted now is the largest artery. You can see the size of it also, how big it is in the size. So this is the aorta, the blue color one which I have marked it.
Ma'am.
Apart from the, tell me.
Ma'am, I have heard about cardiac arrest. Ma'am, what is a cardiac arrest?
Cardiac arrest is basically what happens when the circulation of the blood does not happen in a proper way. Then in that case, the pumping of the heart gets stopped automatically. That is called as a cardiac arrest.
Okay.
Then you can see actually, when you see, you know, like let me zoom if to show you clearly. It's actually pumping continuously, so it might be a little difficult to see. There is a kind of very thin layer actually present around the heart. A kind of polythene sheet kind of the structure is there around the heart. In this, you will not be able to see it clearly, but actually, like you have the notebook, right? So what you are going to do in once you are in the new class, you'll be getting new notebooks, new books and all, and you will be covering them, right? So every school will ask you to cover your notebooks. So that covering sometimes will be transparent, right? Same way, the heart also is being covered by a transparent kind of the sheet, which is called as pericardium. So pericardium, I think it won't be available in this diagram, but a kind of sheet, transparent sheet will be there, which is called as pericardium. Now, why that covering is important? That covering is important so as to protect the heart. Okay, so why you cover your notebook? You cover your notebook so that your notebook does not get harm easily. It do not get torn easily. Same way, the heart also is being covered with the pericardium sheet so as to protect it from any kind of the injury or from the shock. Clear, children? Mihira, Joshika?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, see, but in our book, the picture is like this. Somehow it is similar to the actual picture only, but when it comes to the reality picture, it will be with somewhere brownish color in the color. So internally, it is four-chambered heart, whereas the two upper one, they are called as the atria, the lowermost are called as a ventricle. So you can see these two are the atria, the left one, the right atrium, the down one are called as a ventricle or the right ventricle. Basically, when we talk about your higher grades, or maybe you might have seen, in some of the book, they have given the name atria. In some book, they will be giving the name auricle. In some book, they give the name as atrium. These three are same name, okay, children? Don't get confused. They are the same name only. The only thing is, in the different books, the different names are given. Atria, atrium, and auricle, they are same, which means they are the chambers of the heart. So I can say right atria, I can say right auricle, I can say right atrium. Same way, we have for the ventricle also, we can call it as ventricle, we can call it as the ventria, and we can call it as the ventrium. Clear? So for the ventricle, it is ventria, ventrium. For the auricle, it is atria and atria. So you can see in this diagram, They have given the atrium for the auricle, and for the ventricle, they have given the ventricle name only. Now, this is a diagram, symmetric diagram, where the circulation it happens. This is very, very important. If you understand this part, it becomes very easy for you to understand the whole concept of the heart. Now, what you need to do is you should understand it. Two things. Can you see what I'm highlighting here? Superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. Can you see them?
Yes, ma'am.
This superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, basically they are the vein. Okay. Now, if I say they are the vein, what kind of the blood they will be carrying? Oxygenated or deoxygenated?
Ma'am, inferior.
Both superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. What kind of the blood do they carry?
Deoxygenated.
Correct. So since I told you superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, they are the vein. So what do they carry? They should carry the deoxygenated blood, which is rich in what? The CO2. Now, learn this sequence. What happened? The deoxygenated blood will be coming through the superior vena cava and through the inferior vena cava. Now, why these two names are given? They could have given the name vena cava. Rather than giving just the name as vena cava, they have given as the superior and inferior vena cava. It is because one part of the vena cava is present on the upper side of the heart. So the part which is present upper side, they are calling it as superior vena cava, and the part which is present below the heart, or I can say behind the heart, that they have given the name as the inferior vena cava. So the only difference is the placing of that. One is above, one is behind or below. That is why it is inferior, that is why it is superior. Okay. Apart from that, both are veins only which will be carrying the deoxygenated blood. So now the deoxygenated blood will be entering through superior vena cava also, through the inferior vena cava also. So both will go and reach to which place? To the right atrium. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Snehal, am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, chambers also have a capacity. We cannot keep on filling it. It has to get empty, right? So that the new blood can come, the new kind of circulation can happen. That is why once the chambers get full, once the right atrium get full, what do? You can see this structure is there, which I am marking it now. They are called as valve, which is called as tricuspid valve. So this valve means kind of the opening, flap-like structure. So as soon as the right atrium get full of the blood, what do? They open the valve known as the tricuspid valve. The moment when they open the valve, all the blood which is present in the right atrium, where it goes? It goes into the right auricle. Okay. So superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, they will be bringing the deoxygenated blood into the right atrium. When right atrium gets full of the blood, vena cava tricuspid gets open, and then it reaches to the right ventricle. Now, once all the blood reaches to the right ventricle, it also gets filled. Now, what it does, it gives the blood to the next part, which is through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. So here what will be there? The lungs will be present. Superior vena cava, inferior vena cava to the right atrium. Then it get full. Then they will be opening the tricuspid valve. Then when they open the tricuspid valve, it reaches to the right ventricle. When right ventricle gets full, they will be giving it to the lungs through the pulmonary artery. Now, when it goes to the lungs, what happened? That deoxygenated blood will get converted into the what kind of blood?
Oxygenated.
Oxygenated blood. Always lungs will be doing that work only. The deoxygenated blood or the blood which is rich in carbon dioxide, they will be converting them into the oxygenated blood. Ultimately, once it gets converted into the oxygenated blood, again it will come to the heart through the vein called as the pulmonary vein. Okay. Now you can say, ma'am, that you only told the veins will be carrying deoxygenated blood. But through the pulmonary vein, they are bringing the oxygenated blood. It is because pulmonary vein are the exception of this theory of vein and arteries. Fine. So the only vein which carries the oxygenated blood, that is a pulmonary vein. So lungs will be giving the oxygenated blood to the pulmonary vein. Through the pulmonary vein, where it goes into the left atrium. Now when left atrium gets full of the blood, it opens a valve. The name of the valve here is called as a mitral valve. So when once left atrium gets full, they will open the valve called as mitral valve, and they will be giving the blood to the left ventricle. Now, when left ventricle gets full of the blood, they will give it to the artery, the largest artery, which is called as aorta. Now, when aorta gets full, they will be giving to the body. Now, when the blood reaches to the body, what it turns into? The oxygenated will turn into the deoxygenated. So again, our same process will happen. When it goes to the body, in the body it becomes deoxygenated. Then again, it will be coming to the superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, then to the right atrium, then to the right ventricle, then to the pulmonary artery, and finally to the lungs. In the lungs, it becomes oxygenated. Again, it will be coming to the pulmonary vein, to the left atrium, left ventricle, to the aorta, and then to the body. Like this, the cycle keeps on going. That is why this whole process is called as double circulation. Now, why this kind of circulation is called as double circulation? As I've told you now, that twice actually the blood is coming inside and leaving the heart. Correct? One time it is actually carrying the deoxygenated blood to the lungs, and the other time they are bringing the oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart. So that is why this kind of circulation is called as the double circulation. Clear? Snehal, Joshika, Himang,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Meera.
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Fine?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
learn this actually flow chart, then you will not get any time of doubt. So superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, both will be bringing the blood to the right atrium. Then it reaches to the right ventricle through the tricuspid valve. From the right ventricle, it goes to the pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery will be giving to the lungs. In the lungs, it becomes oxygenated. Then it enters through the then it enters into the left atrium, then to the left ventricle, then to the aorta, and then it goes to the rest of the body. Now, when it goes to the rest of the body, it becomes deoxygenated, and again, the same process will start. So that is how the double circulation or the flow of the blood will happen in the body. Now, next one, the heartbeat. The walls of the heart are made up of the cardiac muscles. Now, cardiac muscles means those muscles which have the property of contraction and relaxation. That is why they are doing the pumping, right? The heart is able to do the pumping because of the cardiac muscles. Same way, the heartbeat also, they have the cardiac muscles because of which contract relaxation. It means they will be taking some little of space, and then again they will be coming back to the original space. That is what the contraction and relaxation, expanding and then coming back to the original space, which contracts and relax rhythmically. This rhythmic contraction followed by its relaxation, it is called as a heartbeat. So when we talk about the heartbeat, it is basically the rhythmic contraction followed by the relaxation. So contraction and relaxation should work on one after the other. It is recorded by the instrument called as a stethoscope. So doctors are using this stethoscope for checking the heartbeat of the person, and through that heartbeat only they will be understanding and they'll be realizing what kind of the problem that person is facing. So in the heartbeat, like when it goes up, when it goes down, when the sound is coming less, when the sound of it is coming more. So that through that they will be deciding. In the heart, in the stethoscope, there will be three parts: earpiece, middle tube, and the chest piece will be there. Earpiece, the doctors will be keeping in the ear so that the sound of the heart will be reaching to them actually to identify. Then the tube is actually a center kind of the connector which help them to connect the chest piece with the earpiece. And chest piece is a kind of the round spherical structure which they will be keeping on the patient heart or at the back side of it to check the heartbeat or to check the rate of a person. Then pulse and pulse rate. The jerk felt in the wrist arteries due to the heartbeat is called as a pulse. So whatever the jerk, like you can do this actually. So take your two fingers and you try to hold it, and nothing, no noise should be there in front of you or like in place of you. You will be able to hear that sound, kind of the vibration comes when we keep two fingers on the arteries. Can you feel that? A little vibration, not vibration, I can say a small kind of, pump thing, you will be able to feel it. Try keeping your fingers, two fingers on the arteries of your hand, like the same way how this person is keeping. You will be able to feel that something is moving and something, is jerking there. That is what is actually the pulse. So earlier the doctor used to find the pulse rate like this only. They used to keep the fingers over the arteries of the person and they used to check how many pulse rate are coming. So number of the pulse per minute is called as a pulse rate. Each heartbeat will generate one pulse in the arteries, and the pulse rate per minute indicates the rate of the heartbeat, which is 70 to 80 minutes per minute. So in a minute, 70 to 80 times the heartbeat will be there. And some of the people, they will, in the movies you might have seen, right? Some people, they will be keeping those two fingers over the neck, on the side of the neck. Have you seen that? To check whether the person is alive or dead.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is also the criteria you do to actually feel the pulse rate in the body of a person. But generally, we follow this rather than following the neck method. Because neck, actually, what happened when we try to follow the neck method, then we actually breathe, right? So during the breathing also, we will be getting that sensation there. Then coming to the next part, which is the excretory system in the human beings, very, very important for your all the upcoming classes as well. Now, this is the human excretory system. Diagram is important, labeling is important, everything is important in the human excretory system. So when we talk about the excretory system, it is basically the removal of the waste material from the body. Now, why it is important? Why we have to remove the waste material? Why can't we keep it? It is because if in our body, if every harmful thing get accumulated, what do? Slowly and gradually, they will produce the toxic in our body. And when toxicity is being produced, it will get spreaded throughout and it can cause us the death of a person. So death of a person will be there. So to avoid that, in our body, we have the excretory system so that we can remove the harmful waste outside the body easily. And when the harmful waste are being removed, then the poison or the toxins will not be created in our body. So it comprises of a pair of kidneys. You can see left kidney and the right kidney. Then the center tube, which helps them to connect, is called as a ureter. So left ureter, right ureter will be there. Then there's a bladder. Bladder means a kind of the bag-like structure, which is called as urinary bladder or the bladder. Then last one is the urethra. So the kidney, what do? Basically, they help in the filtration of the blood. So blood will come to the kidney. They will be filtering. Once they filter, the useful component they will be taking back into the body, and the remaining component, which is the urine, they will be giving it to the ureter. The ureter will bring that urine, and that urine will be stored in the bladder here. So this is the place where we will be storing. Urinary bladder is the place where we will be storing the urine. Now you might have felt in your body also, right? Like sometimes we try to control the urine, but after some time, like we will not be able to control. It actually expels out sometime. When we sneeze, it comes out, the urine comes out. It is because our urinary bladder gets full. So when the urinary bladder gets full, it can occupy a little more of urine because it is muscular in nature. Fine. So since it is muscular, it can hold a little more, but more than that it cannot hold. That is why it starts paining you. that you have to go and you have to remove the urine out because there is no space. So urinary bladder is already full with the urine, and you are generating more amount of the urine. So where it will be going? Nowhere. So it starts creating problem in the stomach, and that is the reason immediately we'll be running to the washroom and we'll just urinate it out through the urethra. So through the urethra, we'll be removing the urine out. Now, the moment when you remove the urine out, you will be relaxed. Why you'll be relaxed? Because your urinary bladder will be empty. Then again, the same process will be happening where the filtration will happen. They will be bringing the urine will be stored in the urinary bladder. All those things will keep on going. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
That is how it will be working. So when the blood comes to the kidneys, useful substances are absorbed back. See, the blood will bring all the useful thing also, all the waste material also. So it's our kidney function that they should realize what is important, what is harmful. So whatever is important, the kidneys, by their self-realization, they will be sending back to the body so that we can use it. And whatever is harmful, they will be giving it to the next part of it. An adult human passes almost like 1 to 1.8 liter of the urine in a day. Now, different animals have a different kind of the waste product which we generate. Fishes, aquatic animals like fishes, they will produce the ammonia. Land animals like birds, snails, and the lizard, they will generate the uric acids. Then the dialysis is basically when in some person the kidney does not work. So in that case, they will not be able to remove the harmful waste. So how they will be doing it? They will be doing artificially through the machine called as dialysis. So this dialysis is actually a complicated process where after every 3 days they have to go to the doctor. There will be machine called as dialysis machine. Through that machine, they will be inserting the tube, and through that tube, they will be removing the waste material, which is like urine. They'll be filtering the blood, and then they'll be removing the urine out of the body. So once a person is on dialysis, the life of that person becomes very, very complicated actually. So the process of artificial filtration of blood by the means of machine due to the kidney failure, that is called as a dialysis. So imagine after every 3 days they have to go, and every time when they have to visit the hospital, every time they will be taking somewhere 3 to 4 hours for this dialysis process. So you can imagine money they have to spend, time they have to spend, the pain they have to take it, right? So that is why eat healthy to live healthy. Otherwise, the problem will be there. The kidney problem is very, very, very dangerous actually. Coming to the plants basically remove the extra water with the help of the transpiration process, where the loss of the water will be there from the surface of the water through the stomata. Then how do they transport the water and mineral? They will be transporting the water and mineral through the xylem and through the phloem. Xylem will be transporting the water to the stems and to the leaf, whereas the phloem will be transporting the food from the leaves to the other parts of it. So transportation in plants takes place by means of pipe-like structure, which is formed by the special conducting tissue called as vascular tissue. So this xylem and phloem together, they are called as the vascular tissue. So two types are there. Vascular tissue are two types, xylem and phloem. Xylem will transport the water along with the dissolved mineral, while phloem will transport the food which is being prepared by the leaf. So will transport the water and mineral, and phloem will transport the food there in the plant. If only xylem has to transport both the things, it becomes very, very difficult. So that is why both of them, they have divided their work so that it can function effectively. Then suction pull developed due to transpiration pulls water from roots to the top part of the plant. So what happened? Almost all the minerals will be here, right, in the soil. So what they have to do? They have to take them up. And how they are going to take it? They are going to pull them upside. That is called as suction pull or the transpirational pull. Just a minute, children. So transpirational pull, so basically all the minerals and ions, they will pull themselves. It is like well. In the well, the water will be there. And what you need to do? You have to, through the bucket, you need to pull the water up. Same way, the minerals will be there in the soil. What they have to do? They have to pull those ions towards themselves. So that part, that pulling of the ions towards upper side, on the upper side of it, that is called as the suction pull or transpirational pull. Fine, children? That's about the whole chapter of the transportation. So, Snehal, any doubt, children? Anyone?
No, ma'am.
No doubt, ma'am.
Charvi, any doubt, Charvi? Snehal? Mihira?
No,
Just a
ma'am.
minute. Just a minute, children. Just a minute.
No, ma'am.
Charvi, any doubt, Charvi?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So, tomorrow, now in tomorrow's class, we will be doing the question answers, the long question answers, the short question answers, all and MCQs. I think you can do it on your own. The long and short question answers we'll be discussing about this chapter. And after the transportation, which chapter should we start now? Any preference for the chapter? Joshika, Himank, Snehal.
Reproduction and plants.
Reproduction in plants. Charvi, reproduction in plants is coming for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine, then reproduction in plants we can start maybe tomorrow or maybe in the next classes we can start apart from that. Now let me show you one circulation video so that you can understand how the transportation it happens. Is my screen visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Vessels containing blood flowing to the heart, while arteries have blood flowing from the heart. The blue is representative of blood vessels containing deoxygenated blood, while the red blood vessels have oxygenated blood fresh from the lungs. Now, let's follow the path of the blood through the heart. The superior vena cava receives blood from the head, neck, upper limbs, and chest. Meanwhile, the inferior vena cava receives blood from the trunk, viscera, and lower limbs. Both the superior and inferior vena cava end up in the right atrium, one of the 4 chambers of the heart. The heart not only has 4 chambers, it also has 4 valves. The purpose of the valves is to keep blood moving in the right direction and not flow backwards. Blood exits the right atrium through the tricuspid valve, so called because it has 3 flaps, and enters the right ventricle. The blood exits the right ventricle through the pulmonary valve and enters the pulmonary artery. Again, it is an artery because blood is flowing away from the heart, but it is blue because it lacks oxygen. The pulmonary artery then splits into the left and right pulmonary arteries, which go to each respective lung. In the lungs, gas exchange occurs. The blood discards carbon dioxide and picks up oxygen. Now, blood comes back from the lungs through the pulmonary veins, entering the left atrium. Next, the blood is pumped into the left ventricle through the mitral or bicuspid valve. Finally, the oxygenated blood leaves the left ventricle through the aortic semilunar valve, entering the aortic arch. The aorta, which is the largest of all the arteries, distributes the
You can see
oxygenated blood
the
to the
size
rest
of the
of the
aorta
body.
is very big. That is why it
The
is called as the
aortic
largest
arch has
artery.
3 major branches, which
And
supply
the
the
other
head and
arteries are
arms with
small, they are
blood.
thin in nature.
Then the aorta curls downward behind the heart, forming the descending aorta,
See, this is
which
the aorta
descends
which
through
is
the
going
chest
down.
and continues down through the
And this
abdomen.
aorta is
In
basically
the
connected
abdomen,
to
the
the
descending aorta
respiratory
splits to
system.
supply the pelvis and legs with blood.
If you like this video, please like and subscribe.
Okay, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine then, children. So tomorrow then we'll be discussing the question and answers, and then I'll be starting with the reproduction and plants part also. Okay, children, thank you. Charvi, be here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Bye,
you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
ma'am.
nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, Imang. Charvi, turn on the video.
Yes, ma'am.
Today you did not go to the offline class?
No, ma'am.
Why?
Ma'am, actually, my dad was busy. He had some urgent call, ma'am.
Okay. So, how the classes are going on there?
Good, ma'am.
Are you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So today you will not be going at any time, right?
No, ma'am.
And then tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'll go, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. So how many chapters have you completed in the maths or science?
Ma'am, maths I completed like 4 chapters, and science I completed 2 chapters, ma'am.
But the thing is, are you thorough with that? Are you practicing them?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine, because see, what happened, the revision and all, you can do it. The most important thing is the practice. The more you'll be practicing, the more idea you'll be getting, right? How to solve the different kinds of the question. Fine, so solve the good number of the question. If you need any kind of the worksheet, practice sheets and all, do let me know. I'll provide you, okay? And there also you can ask the ma'am, Harshpreet ma'am, or maybe Gayatri ma'am, or the Anudeep sir, whoever is available, whoever is teaching you, that sir, can you give me some questions to solve? Fine.
Ma'am, I actually also have a test on science and math on Saturday, ma'am.
This coming Saturday, like tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes, ma'am.
Which chapter?
Ma'am, the chapters all I studied, ma'am.
Great. And who has informed you about this?
Ma'am, Gayatri, ma'am.
Fine. So Gayatri ma'am will be preparing the paper, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine, good. So tomorrow, 5:30 you'll be going and writing the exam there, right? Then Sunday, the timing will be 2:30 to, I think, 5. Fine.
Okay.
Okay, Charvi then. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye-bye.